Queen of Tears controversy, the untold reality behind Korea's biggest hit. I still remember the first week Queen of Tears hit Netflix. Everywhere I looked, clips on TikTok, crying reaction videos, memes of Baek Hyun-woo's trembling voice. It wasn't just another K-drama, it felt like the world had paused to feel something together. But as I began researching how such a flawless story was made, I discovered something far from perfect. Behind the camera lights, the schedules, and the glossy marketing, there was exhaustion. Behind the romance, there was fear, and before long, that exhaustion would bleed into controversy, one that nearly consumed the people who made the show possible. When TVN announced Queen of Tears in 2023, Korean entertainment outlets called it the comeback of the decade. Kim Soo-hyun was returning to TV after 3 quiet years. Kim Ji-won had just finished My Liberation Notes and was finally being recognized as a full-fledged lead. And then came the clincher, writer Park Ji-yoon, the same creative mind behind My Love, From the Star, and Crash Landing on You. The industry expected fireworks, and Park herself promised something even more human, more painful, more romantic. The synopsis was deceptively simple. A husband and wife, Hyun-woo and Hae-in, realize their love only when facing death. But what Park wanted, according to production notes later shared with Sports Chosun, was truth, not melodrama, but a realism that cuts deep. To reach that truth, she and director Kim Hee-won pushed the cast to inhabit the roles fully. Each emotional peak had to feel lived, not performed. That meant 10-hour rehearsals, reshooting single scenes from 5 camera angles, sometimes rewriting dialogue mid-take if it felt even slightly insincere. Crew members described it as a marathon with no finish line. Filming started in mid-2023 and stretched through 4 seasons, summer heat to winter snow. Germany was chosen for key overseas scenes, adding logistical stress. Travel, language barriers, and tight post-production windows all piled on. An assistant cinematographer later told K-Star News, "It was the most beautiful project I've worked on, and the most punishing. Sleep was a luxury every K-drama chases ratings, but this one was built for history. Streaming rights were pre-sold to Netflix for record figures. Advertisers booked entire blocks around its premiere. Pressure, however, doesn't motivate everyone equally." During early table reads, Kim Soo-hyun reportedly told colleagues he felt terrified of failing expectations. He was Korea's highest-paid drama actor, rumored at 600 million won per episode, and every headline reminded him of it. Friends told Dispatch that he spent nights rewatching dailies, obsessing over micro-expressions. Kim Ji-won, by contrast, internalized stress quietly. She'd been labeled underrated for years. This was her proof moment. Makeup artists later said she'd arrive first on set, script covered in notes, yet by week 10 she'd begun losing weight from skipped meals. Between August and December 2023, weather delays forced weekend shoots. Cast and crew averaged 14 hours a day. Still, morale held for a while. Then came episode 7, the turning point both on-screen and off. That was the hospital confrontation scene. Hae-in learns the truth about her illness. Hyun-woo confesses his guilt. On set, Ji-won reportedly broke down mid-take and couldn't stop crying even after cut. The director allowed the camera to keep rolling. That raw footage became part of the final edit. When viewers later called it the most real crying ever seen on TV, they didn't know it actually was. By February 2024, Queen of Tears was a juggernaut. Episode 1 opened to 5% ratings. By episode 10, it had doubled. In April, its finale hit 24.85% nationwide, the highest in TVN history. Netflix's global metrics showed 682 million hours watched, second only to Squid Game. Korean commentators dubbed it the national drama of 2024. Merchandise, fashion tie-ins, tourist packages, everything touched by Queen of Tears sold out. Yet inside that success, fatigue was spreading. Behind-the-scenes photos revealed cast members huddled under blankets, eyes swollen from tears. During wrap-up events, both leads looked visibly thinner. When media outlets requested post-series interviews, both actors declined. TVN cited schedule conflicts, but insiders told KBZOOM the real reason was exhaustion and perhaps something else simmering just beneath the surface. At that moment, no one imagined the celebration would soon turn into scrutiny, but the first whispers were already online. K-drama fans are passionate, analytical, and sometimes invasive. They began noticing inconsistencies. Why did Soo-hyun look so emotionally fragile during press junkets? Why did Ji-won appear distant at the finale event? Speculation multiplied. YouTube commentary channels dissected every gesture. One clip of Soo-hyun tearing up during a promotional interview was titled, "Is He Okay?" and racked up 2 million views in a week. Rumors split into two directions. One, that the leads were clashing because of fatigue and differing acting methods. Two, the opposite, that their chemistry had grown too real, blurring personal boundaries. Neither agency commented. Silence only fanned curiosity. Still, fans assumed it was harmless shipping culture until March 2025, when an unrelated name exploded into the headlines and pulled everything into chaos. March 14, 2025. A little-known YouTube investigative channel, Garosero Research Institute, uploaded a 12-minute video claiming that Kim Soo-hyun had maintained a secret relationship with actress Kim Se-ron since 2015, when she was a minor. The allegation was shocking, the evidence thin, mostly screenshots, alleged messages, and an interview with Se-ron's aunt. Within hours, Korean and international tabloids ran headlines implying an underage relationship. Soo-hyun's agency, Gold Medalist, issued an immediate denial, calling the video baseless and defamatory. But in the age of social media, the first impression often wins. Online forums flooded with speculation. Was this why Soo-hyun had seemed unstable lately? Did the emotional weight of Queen of Tears mask personal guilt? Fans of the drama panicked. Advertisers called emergency meetings. What had been a triumphant career peak was now a potential PR disaster. 17 days later, Soo-hyun appeared before reporters at a Seoul hotel. He bowed deeply, voice trembling. "I am sorry for the noise. I did not do what I am accused of. I began dating Kim Se-ron only after she became an adult. During Queen of Tears, I had so much to protect." He broke down mid-sentence, wiping tears. Cameras flashed relentlessly. Some viewers saw sincerity, others saw performance. The phrase, "I had so much to protect," drew criticism. People accused him of using the show's success as a shield. Yet to others, it revealed the crushing pressure he had been under throughout filming. That day marked a shift. The Queen of Tears fairy tale became an industry scandal. The fallout was swift. Luxury brands, including Prada and Dinto, suspended or ended endorsement deals. CJ Foodville quietly replaced his promotional images. International partners froze campaigns until further clarity. In March 2025, Reuters reported, brands are reconsidering collaborations amid allegations involving actor Kim Soo-hyun. Meanwhile, Queen of Tears re-entered global charts because everyone wanted to re-watch it through the lens of scandal. Every emotional scene was now reinterpreted. Was that guilt real? Was he crying for the role or for himself? Ji-won, who had nothing to do with the controversy, found herself dragged into every headline. Her fan community fought to separate her image, launching hashtags like hashtag Protect Kim Ji-won and hashtag She Deserves Peace. The internet, once united by affection, had turned into factions. When nominations for the 61st Baeksang Arts Awards were announced in May 2025, fans noticed something chilling. Queen of Tears, the most-watched drama of the year, was absent from the Best Drama list. Ji-won wasn't nominated for Best Actress, only Soo-hyun made the cut, and even that nomination triggered outrage. The committee explained that eligibility closed on March 31st and the show aired beyond that date, but for viewers, it felt political, a quiet punishment. On social media, people posted split screenshots. Left side, Soo-hyun holding the Baeksang trophy. Right side, Ji-won's teary final scene, captioned, "She carried this too." Public sentiment had changed. The once golden couple of K-dramas now symbolized how quickly glory turns to controversy in South Korea's entertainment machine. Both actors retreated from public appearances. Gold medalist began pursuing defamation suits against malicious commenters. Kim Ji-won's agency, Hi-Zeum Studio, released a brief statement asking for privacy. Industry insiders said TVN quietly re-edited promotional footage to remove behind-the-scenes montages that might now be interpreted controversially. Among crew members, opinions were divided. Some defended Soo-hyun as meticulous and kind. Others described a man haunted by the need to be perfect. For months, the story refused to die. Every week brought a new exclusive leak, often disproved days later. The more he denied, the more attention it attracted. Looking back, Queen of Tears feels like an allegory for its own making. A couple trapped between love and loss, actors trapped between art and reputation. I started this investigation hoping to understand why such a luminous production became shrouded in darkness. What I found is that the problem isn't one scandal or one actor. It's an industry that asks for emotional authenticity, while when I started tracing how Queen of Tears went from concept to phenomenon, I expected a familiar pattern: casting excitement, script polishing, a few rough nights. What I found instead was a system engineered for impossible standards. Every big-budget K-drama begins with ratings talk Park Ji-yeon's name alone guaranteed sponsors, so TVN executives set an internal goal: break 20% nationwide ratings, a figure only Crash Landing on You and Goblin had reached. That meant no mistakes. Every shot, every emotion, every outfit had to be flawless. To outsiders, this sounds like ambition. To the people inside, it was pressure that never let up. Writers were revising dialogue hours before filming. The music team was told to compose full orchestral cues within 3 days. Even catering staff described the atmosphere as a quiet competition in exhaustion. For Kim Soo-hyun, the pressure was doubled. His pay grade made him a walking headline. Any dip in performance would be interpreted as arrogance or burnout. He began reviewing scripts alone late at night, noting microscopic emotional beats. One assistant remembered him sitting on the floor after a 14-hour day, whispering lines to himself in the dark studio hallway. Kim Ji-won's burden was quieter, but heavier. She had spent a decade proving she could anchor a drama. Queen of Tears was her first project marketed as the nation's leading actress. Friends later told Sports Donga she carried printouts of every episode's emotional timeline, color-coded for her character's grief curve. By episode 9, those pages were wrinkled, covered with tear stains and pen marks. The director, Kim Hee-won, is admired for precision. On this project, that precision bordered on obsession. She's known for the rule: if you can feel the acting, it's wrong. Crew logs from the set mention days that ran from 7 a.m. call times to 1 a.m. wrap. Some scenes were repeated 30 times, not because of mistakes, but to capture emotional resonance. A lighting assistant recalled hearing the director say, "We will shoot until the silence between their breaths feels truthful." That pursuit produced cinematic beauty and human strain. The episode 7 hospital scene became infamous inside the studio. Ji-won's real crying continued for almost 10 minutes after the director called cut. The crew stayed silent, no one daring to move. Later, the director told Chine, 21, it felt unethical to interrupt what she was living. Behind those words lies a bigger question: when does acting become emotional labor? In Korean production culture, endurance equals professionalism. Crying until dehydration isn't seen as trauma, it's seen as dedication. Soo-hyun embodied that ethos. He often refused body doubles for physically exhausting sequences, insisting, "It has to be me. Viewers will know." By mid-production, both leads were running on caffeine and adrenaline. Medical staff visited the set twice a week. When I spoke with one junior crew member months later, she said, February 2024, ratings soared past 15%. Advertisers flooded in. The network ordered bonus marketing budgets. From the outside, Queen of Tears looked unstoppable. Inside, the cast was nearing collapse. Sleep deprivation blurred days together. One sound technician described Soo-hyun weeping silently after a retake, then apologizing to staff for breaking focus. Ji-won developed insomnia. Makeup artists used ice packs each morning to reduce swelling from crying scenes. Still, no one wanted to admit weakness. In Korean entertainment, vulnerability can be weaponized. Soo-hyun had seen colleagues labeled unreliable for less, so he smiled through press junkets even as he looked pale and withdrawn. Fans began noticing. Hashtags like #ProtectHyunwoo and #AreYouOK. Soo-hyun trended on X. Entertainment journalists speculated about method acting fatigue. Ironically, this concern fed the same machinery that kept the pressure alive. The more fragile he looked, the more people tuned in. By March's midpoint, internal staff meetings addressed mental fatigue. Production managers suggested shorter call times. It lasted 1 week before ratings spikes reversed the decision. After episode 10 aired, gossip portals began linking anonymous posts claiming trouble between leads. Some alleged Ji-won was unhappy with Soo-hyun's perfectionism. Others claimed he isolated himself from co-stars. None of these posts were verified, but their virality created pressure on both agencies to respond. Gold medalist stayed silent. Hyzeum Studio issued a single-line note: "There are no conflicts between actors." Fan accounts started interpreting every behind-the-scenes clip. A fleeting glance between the actors became evidence. A missed high-five in a wrap-up video was dissected frame by frame. This was the seed of what would later explode into full-scale fandom war. But at this stage, the noise remained background static, annoying, not destructive. The cast kept working, unaware that something far more damaging was approaching from outside the drama itself. March 14, 2025. The Garosero Research Institute video dropped. 12 minutes long, edited with dramatic music. It accused Kim Soo-hyun of having dated Kim Se-ron since 2015, when she was underage. The host cited family testimonies and blurred screenshots allegedly proving contact. Within hours, portals like Naver and Dom pushed alerts. Top actor in underage relationship controversy. It was midnight in Seoul when Soo-hyun's management first saw the video. Lawyers drafted responses through the night. At 8 a.m., gold medalist released a statement calling the allegations completely false, but screenshots spread faster than clarifications. By lunchtime, brand managers were calling crisis PR firms. One senior marketing executive told Jongang Ilbo, "In our industry, perception is reality. You act before the facts are verified." Sponsors paused campaigns. A Japanese cosmetics partner suspended his advertisements pending internal review. Social feeds filled with outrage, disbelief, and, for some, pity. Viewers returned to Queen of Tears episodes, searching for hints of guilt or melancholy. 17 days later, Kim Soo-hyun stood before more than 100 journalists. His voice shook. "I never dated anyone illegally. I did not commit a crime." He bowed for a full 10 seconds, a gesture of repentance, even when denying wrongdoing. He spoke for 40 minutes, alternating between composure and tears. "When Queen of Tears aired, I was protecting something precious. I didn't want my private life to destroy it." That line became the headline, "Something precious." To fans, it meant his art. To critics, it sounded manipulative. Footage of the conference went viral globally. Reaction videos debated whether his crying was authentic. In modern celebrity culture, sincerity itself becomes a performance to be judged. After the event, reporters noted how Ji-won's team declined all questions, stating only that she was focusing on personal rest. Her silence was interpreted both as solidarity and distance, proof, depending on which side you were on. The scandal's ripple effect was immediate. Within a week, Prada, Dinto, and CJ Foodville either suspended or ended contracts. Korean online retailers quietly removed his promotional banners. Reuters ran a headline, "Brands ditch actor amid dating allegations." What began as one YouTube video had become an international business event. Each sponsorship lost meant jobs for stylists, photographers, and ad staff also vanished. Inside Korea, public reaction split. Older viewers empathized. He's human. Younger audiences, more sensitive to power imbalance issues, demanded accountability even without proof. TV forums filled with moral debates disguised as fan discussions. For Soo-hyun, the hardest blow wasn't financial, it was artistic. The project that defined his comeback was now a footnote in scandal timelines. For Ji-won, it was guilt by association. Her image remained pristine, but journalists introduced her in articles as Kim Soo-hyun's Queen of Tears co-star. Years of individual identity were reduced to collateral phrasing.